Welcome to day 22 of 30 days of eating for me and my dog after 5 years on a carnivore diet. And at the end of each video, I go over a complete nutritional breakdown as well as the cost. I am still trying to optimize the diet as much as possible. The goal today is going to be trying to do that using mostly red meat and beef products. But with that said, me and my dog is going to get a workout in here, and then I'm going to go up, prep some food, and have my first meal of the day. Workout's complete, so it's time to eat. Let's see what we got. Alright, so I am going to have to include some seafood this morning to round out some of the nutrients. So I've got 4 ounces of mussels. I have a 5-ounce wild-caught salmon fillet with the skin on. Still trying to make beef my main focus, so I've got 8 ounces of 75/25 local ground beef. I have some dairy here, some sharp cheddar, 2 ounces. 2 tablespoons of organic butter, and I have 2 free-range eggs. And the reason I'm including some seafood in my diet this morning is because it's going to be really hard to round out all the nutrients with just beef. And I think I kind of showed that the first couple weeks because I ate a lot of red meat and a lot of beef, and there was just a lot of stuff that was kind of lacking. So by including salmon and by including the mussels, it's going to bump up certain nutrients. So salmon specifically is going to bump up my vitamin D, E, and potassium. And then the mussels are going to bump up my manganese and vitamin C. Now again, is it really necessary to do that all the time? Probably not. But for the sake of what I'm doing right now, I think it's worth doing, and it's probably worth noting. That way we have at least established a baseline on what is needed if you do want to optimize your diet and keep as many nutrients as you possibly can in the upper range. And my bone broth that I started yesterday is coming along pretty nice. This is my pot right here. Mostly beef bones mixed with some chicken bones. And then here's my dog's pot. Mostly chicken bones in this one. And for a little extra calcium, I am going to add 1/4 teaspoon of eggshell powder. Alright, breakfast is served. Day 22, post-workout meal about to go down. So as far as the cost on this was a pretty darn cheap meal for what I'm getting. So the butter was 34 cents, the sharp cheddar 52 cents, the mussels came out to $1.24, the salmon $1.55, the 8 ounces of ground beef $1.52, and the 2 eggs, because I got those for $3 for 18, it was just 33 cents for the 2 eggs. But the total cost for all that food, which is 23 ounces of food, came out to $5.50. Alright, my bone broth is done. So this is my dog's broth here, and here's my broth. This is a mixture of chicken, pork, and beef. My bones are strained out and I'm left with some liquid gold. Now I put these outside in compost, and these go on my garden, and they will get tilled into the soil because I do have a community garden that I use to provide for my family and people in my community. And I'm basically zero waste. I don't waste anything. And then the meat chunks that came out of here, I strained all the bones out of this, and I'll give this to my dog. I'll just add some of this to her meal, and that'll add a little additional meat. And you can see there's also some collagen and stuff in here, so she loves this as well. But this is ready to go in the fridge. It's going to gel up, and then once it gels up, I'll pull it out tomorrow, package it up, and put it in the freezer. Alright, so I started me up a new compost area here. I'm just going to dump all this in there. I got all my egg whites, my egg shells that I don't use, the ones I get from the grocery store, as well as all my bones. And I'll just bury this, and I'll keep adding to it, keep stirring it up. I put some cow manure in there, and before you know it, I'll have a bunch of fantastic compost and fertilize for this little garden right here. Even though I don't consume vegetables myself, I do have mad respect for anybody who does, especially if you grow your own and you're eating vegetables that are not from big industry, because this is the most healthy way to consume vegetables if you're going to do it. But when it comes to growing food, this is obviously my preferred method. Always have some snacks on hand. All right, it's time for supper for the pupper. Let's see what's on the menu. All right, so tonight we have 14 ounces of chicken leg quarter. I deboned the leg bones out of here because I don't like feeding those to my dog for safety reasons, but there is a huge piece of chicken back in here, and I got these over the weekend for 87 cents a pound, so 14 ounces is 76 cents. Next up, I have some local ground beef. This is 80/20 from my local butcher shop. I get this for $2.99 a pound. This is 4 ounces, and 4 ounces is 76 cents. Next up, I have some hog maw, aka hog stomach. I got this from a local butcher shop as well. I got this for $3.99 a pound. This is 3 ounces, and 3 ounces is 75 cents. I have 4 ounces of chicken gizzards. I get this for $1.29 a pound. 4 ounces is 32 cents. Right here is a small piece of deer kidney. This is 1 ounce. I sourced this myself locally, so this is 100% free. And last but not least, we have 3 ounces of chicken feet, aka 2 chicken feet. I get these for $2.24 a pound, and 3 ounces is 42 cents. And hiding in the back here, we have some freshly made bone broth that I just finished earlier, and this is right about a cup. So the total amount for all the food that you see here, this is 29 ounces of food, is $3.01. And that breaks down to $1.66 a pound. This is a fantastic thing for dogs. It's a very natural way of eating, and it also helps to clean their teeth when they try to chew through these bones. All right, pup's fed, now it's my turn. First up, I have 16 ounces of grass-fed ground beef. Now, I found this at Aldi's. I happened to swing in there to pick up a couple things over the weekend, and I saw this in there on sale for $3.99 a pound. I normally don't buy my beef from the grocery store. I almost always get it from a local butcher shop, but I bought this to kind of highlight that you can find really good deals in the grocery store as well. Now, granted, this is probably imported beef, but if this is all you have access to, very cheap and very affordable. Next up, I have 3 ounces of beef kidney. I have 5 ounces of beef fat trimmings, 1 ounce of beef liver, 2 ounces of sharp cheddar, 1 ounce of Tillamook cream cheese, and 2 tablespoons of organic butter. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, dinner is served. I'm actually looking very much forward to this meal because beef always makes me feel optimal, so I cannot wait to dig into this. But before I do, let's talk about cost real quick. So in total, this is 30 ounces of food, and the total for this entire meal is $7.02. So breakfast was $5.50, so the grand total for my 2 meals for the day is $12.52. When you factor in my dog's food, her meal was $3.01, so the grand total for the entire day is $15.53. Alright, so my total calories consumed today was 4,244 calories. I did weigh myself again this morning, still 169, and I've been eating at a surplus of about 1,000 calories every single day for 22 days now. And I haven't gained a pound, so calories are irrelevant when you're eating actual food, when you're eating real whole food, and you're eating a species appropriate diet and the things you're meant to consume. Alright, so my calorie surplus, my total calorie surplus for the day was 1,483 calories. Alright, and again, my target calorie goal is set to 2,584. But my fat to protein ratio for the day was 67% of my calories came from fat, and 32% of my calories came from protein. And that meal I just consumed, that's what bumped my fat content up because this morning's meal was fairly lean. So my total protein intake for the day was 317 grams of protein and 317 grams of fat. So exactly the same amount of fat and protein consumed. However, fat just obviously has more calories. That's why that's much higher. Vitamin C, I didn't expect this to be very high today. I got 18% of my RDA on vitamin C. And the reason that's pretty low is because the only thing vitamin C really came from today was the mussels. But still, that's enough to ward off any kind of deficiency I could possibly get because I'm not consuming carbohydrates. I'm not consuming sugars. Iron, I got a little over 4.5 times my RDA, which is expected because meat and liver is very high in iron. B12, same thing. There's a lot of B12 in the foods I'm consuming. So I got 3,906%. Roughly 39 times my RDA. Calcium, 148%, which some of that came from the eggshell powder and the dairy and stuff I consumed. Folate, 102% my RDA, so I met my RDA on folate. And a lot of that just comes from the variation I'm adding in. Organs, seafood, things like that are bumping that up pretty easily. Vitamin A, 422%. Beef liver specifically is very high in vitamin A. so that's why this got bumped up so high. Potassium, 101%, so I met my RDA on potassium, which is fantastic. Including the seafood this morning, the salmon, that's what bumped my potassium on up. Had I not included that, I probably wouldn't have met my RDA on potassium today. All my other B vitamins going down the list, I met and exceeded my RDA on every single one. Vitamin D, 113%, so I met my RDA on vitamin D again. And a lot of this came from the dairy, the cheese, the eggs, and the seafood. Again, had I not included those things, I definitely would not have met my RDA on vitamin D. Vitamin E, I expected this to not meet my RDA today just because I didn't have as much seafood, but I was at 74% today, so roughly 3/4 of my RDA. I mean, that's still pretty optimal. That's an optimal range, and I could have easily bumped that up to 100% by including like 4 to 5 more ounces of salmon. Vitamin K, so I tallied all this up, and beef has 7% of your RDA in just 3 ounces. Beef liver has 60% of your RDA in 3 ounces. Beef kidney has 4% of your RDA in 3 ounces. Egg yolk is 5% in just 1, and cheddar cheese is 3% in 1 ounce. So I sat down and did the math on that, and I was well over my RDA for the day. And again, I'll put the information on the screen and in the description on where I'm getting this data. It's from Healthline. It has a breakdown of all the foods that are high in vitamin K. Copper, I got almost 6.5 times my RDA, so I'm definitely good on copper. Liver and secreting organs tend to be pretty high on copper. So if your copper gets super high and way up there and you're eating organs, you could probably just cut organs out or scale back on them and it will lower your copper some. I did pretty good on magnesium today considering I only ate the seafood this morning, which actually wasn't really that much. So I got 79% of my RDA on magnesium at 333 milligrams. And like I say in pretty much every one of these videos, that is fantastic. As somebody who came into carnivore that had a significant heart condition and very, very bad magnesium deficiency, I am ecstatic about getting that much bioavailable magnesium in my diet solely from nutrition. I think that is phenomenal, especially with it not coming from plants because it's not getting bound up by plant toxins and anti-nutrients. So my body is using all of that magnesium it's getting. Manganese, I got 3.5 times my RDA, so I'm good on that. Anytime I add in these mussels, that's the ticket for manganese, 100%. Had I not added mussels into my diet today or any kind of seafood, it would have been very, very low. Phosphorus, 4.5 times my RDA, I'm good there. Selenium, I got a lot of selenium again today. Almost 10 times my RDA. Sodium, I'm good on. I just salt my food to taste. I haven't really been measuring that out, but I just assume I'm using about a teaspoon per meal. Zinc, 529% my RDA, so I'm good on zinc. Animal products are very high in zinc, which is a great thing because zinc is very fundamental for human health. So I got 2,180 milligrams of cholesterol today, which I'm totally happy with because cholesterol is essential for human health as well. Omega-3, I got 2.7 grams at 169%, and omega-6, I got 6.6 grams at 39%. I am totally pleased with not getting my RDA on omega-6 and exceeding my RDA on omega-3 because omega-3 is very anti-inflammatory. It's very fundamental for human health. It's great for brain function. It's just very essential for the human body. Whereas omega-6 can be kind of pro-inflammatory. So keeping that on the lower side as far as RDA goes, I'm totally happy with that. Saturated fat, 146 grams. Trans fat, 12 grams. All these fats, like I say in pretty much every video, I'm good with getting fat as long as it's coming from animal products and not seed oils or something crazy like that. And looking down the list at all the proteins and essential amino acids, just like every single day, I met and well exceeded my RDA on every single protein and essential amino acid, which always makes sense because there's really nothing better when it comes to protein than animal products. I mean, looking pretty good for a half a day's worth of eating just beef, dairy and stuff like that. I'd say that's not bad. I mean, there's a few things that I expected to be kind of low, like vitamin E and vitamin C, just because it is kind of hard to get vitamin C, vitamin E, and a couple of those other nutrients from beef. But by including seafood this morning, I was able to bump those up at least in the optimal range, because trying to get all that stuff up there in the optimal range using only beef or only red meat is going to be pretty tough. And I think I illustrated that pretty well the first couple weeks. Now granted, I was getting those nutrients in my diet They were just in minimal amounts. So whether or not that's optimal, I guess is left to be decided, but I don't think it could hurt anything by getting those nutrients up in the optimal range and trying to keep them there as often as possible. So I mean, if you're coming into carnivore and that's one of your concerns is that you're not going to be able to get all the nutrients you need to thrive, then by doing this, by optimizing, I think that kind of removes that doubt. And it just kind of gives you additional assurance that you are getting everything that you need to thrive. And I think that's a very important thing because it's good to be reassured. And it's empowering to know that you are getting everything that you need from your diet and that you don't have to supplement. Because when it comes to nutrition and nutrients and vitamins and minerals, getting it from the food that you're consuming is always going to be the best option. The moment you start introducing supplements and synthetic vitamins and minerals is the moment that those things start becoming less optimal. Because you absolutely can get everything you need from nutrition. You can get everything you need from diet. Specifically, you can get everything you need from a carnivore diet. But with that said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. If you haven't done so already, be sure to like, subscribe, join the Apex Tribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the future videos in this series. And I'll see you on day 23. All right, peace out.